I don't want to stop the conversation here. I want to tell you guys how the whole thing really played out specifically. Hi guys, how's it going? So, this was initially supposed to be a podcast, but I have a problem with podcasts. I have a problem with podcasts these days. I still believe that the original podcasts were audio files, right? And I don't think a lot of people invest their time in listening to audio these days. That's my opinion, right? So I kept telling myself I'm going to make a proper video when I have the time. And as it turns out, I do have the time now. I think the time is like 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm not sleepy at all. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's make this video. Let's talk about it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Magnus and I live in Nigeria. I've been living in Nigeria like all my life when I'm not running around, or traveling. I am going to tell you guys how I landed my first remote job and pretty much how I got into the whole workspace thing. I've worked 9 jobs so far. I've worked at a cyber cafe, I've worked at a block industry, I've worked at a radio station, I've worked at a book publishing company, I've worked at, oh my God, I've worked at a what's it called? A movie production company in Solere. And yeah, I've worked so many jobs, but I'm not going to tell you about these other jobs from like way back. I want to talk to you about how I landed my first remote job, like what led to it, how did it happen, stuff like that. I think my first, what really led to it was talking to a church member in 2014 about where I was in life at the time. I had written WAEC twice. I wrote NECO twice the year before. I wrote JAMB as well. I think I wrote JAMB twice as well, if not 3 times. I wrote GC as well twice. I failed GC twice. I wrote twice, I failed twice. Wrote WAEC twice, failed twice. It's always maths. Like I really sucked at maths. And then I wrote NECO. It was almost good, but my math was horrible, so I had to go do the whole NECO thing again. I think at the time, I think it was like June, July or so. Instead of the secondary school one, you go to like a private institution, register and do the June, July one. So I did that and I passed. And then I gained admission to study computer science at Yaba Tech. But even before gaining admission to study computer science, I had spoken with a church member and I told him, hey, this is what I know. I know how to use a computer. I know how to update Facebook pages. I was helping a friend at the time. His name is Fariz. He lives in Ghana now. I was helping him update a gaming page which he had set up. He was setting up like a gaming center at the time. And yeah, I was managing social media. So I was using my phone. When we have something exciting, I just post it. When we have articles to write about Ludo, I just post it. I just wanted to have something doing at the time. So I agreed to, do everything with him. I also agreed to do it with him because I was excited about it. Like it was really, really exciting. So we got into it. I started updating Facebook. Then I spoke to a church member about it, like, hey, this is what I do. I'm also thinking of starting a blog, but I don't know how to design a logo. I don't even know where to start from. So he gave his advice, his tips and everything. And he told me to, use blogger.com to start with. Helped me design a logo. And that was it. I started posting random stuff on my blog, motivational stuff, movie updates, just really random stuff. At the time, Fariz, who before he moved to Ghana, met with me somewhere in Bega, close to Lagos, and he was like, yo, I have this laptop for you. The battery is not so good, but the laptop works. Start using it. So I started using the laptop and I continued working with him. he gives me some money randomly, occasionally. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to pay you every month kind of thing. It was just occasionally you give me some money, and then he gave me the laptop. And I was like, wait, are you borrowing me this laptop? And he was like, no, I dash you. So I had the blog, I had this Facebook page I was updating, and then this church member reached out to me and was like, yo, you built your blogger blog, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, I know someone who is an OAP who needs the blog, and she needs someone who can help her set up the blog. And I was like, yeah, okay, I think I can do that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to set a meeting with you guys. I'll talk to her and ask her where you guys can meet and all of that. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I was super nervous. So I met up with her somewhere on the island. We had lunch and she told me what she wanted. I kind of like, because my head was brimming with ideas at the time, I kind of like sketched ideas as well and told her, hey, we should do it this way, we should have this, we should have this. And she was like, yeah, you get it exactly, build it this way, do it this way. And things basically started taking shape from there. And then again, keep in mind, I was blogging. Then I discovered that there are some really interesting apps, by app developers in Nigeria that were really, really awesome. One of those apps was Okada Books, the book reading app. So I checked out the app, it was really, really good. But I did not check it out on an Android phone, right? We had a tablet at the office, that's at the radio station at the time. So I ran the app on the tablet, it worked. And then I ported it, I basically extracted the APK and I transferred it to a BlackBerry device. I think it was a BlackBerry Q10. It runs APK files, Android files. And I was able to run it there and it was working fine. I was like, yeah, I need to write about this. So I wrote about it and I posted the review on my blog. Then I took the link of the review and sent it to the CEO of Okada Books, who is Okechukwu Ofili. And Okechukwu Ofili checked it out and he was like, who is this guy? I just gave him like a generic answer at the time. I think I told him, just a random schoolboy, who knows stuff or something like that. And he was like, yo, this review is freaking amazing. I want to pay you to write more reviews for us. And I was like, yeah, bring it on, And we talked about how much he was going to pay me. And I started writing the reviews. Then I was working at the radio station doing my daily stuff, but on the side I was updating my blog, writing the reviews for Okada Books. And this was 2014, early 2015. Early 2015, I had to start school. I had to start school in Yaba Tech. So because I had to start school, I had to ditch the radio station job. And then I rented a place outside Yaba Tech with some money that I got from the radio station. Rented a place outside Yaba Tech and everything else took off from there. I started working with Okada Books after writing the reviews. They really liked everything. I started working with them. And then when I didn't have school, I would actually work from like an office. And then when I wanted to do my COS, because again, it was Yaba Tech Polytechnic, when I wanted to do my COS, the CEO of Okada Books was aware. So he spoke to the guys at CC Hub Yaba and he was like, yo, we have this guy who works with us and he's doing his IT currently and he wants to do with Okada Books, but he needs a proper office space, because supervisors will come from the school to check out the place and stuff. Actually, a supervisor never came, but it worked out fine, sha. I got admitted to CC Hub. I got to go there every day from my place close to Yaba Tech. It was like a 15-era bus, okay, all the way to Sabo Yaba, where CC Hub is. From Okada Books, I met someone at Okada Books, very, very amazing person who told me about Upwork, right? And at the time, setting up Upwork from Nigeria wasn't so smooth. But she was able to walk me through how to do it properly. And I was able to set up my Upwork. And from there, I started working remotely. And my cat is, oh God. 3, move. So I was able to set up my, is this thing recording? Yeah, I think it's still recording. So I was able to set up my Upwork from there, and I started getting jobs. At first, it wasn't easy, to be honest. I basically applied to some really shitty job, like $3 an hour, $5 an hour, $4 an hour. I also did this thing where even clients that were not verified, they didn't put their cards when they were setting up the job and everything. I was desperate. I wanted to work with anybody that had something to offer on Upwork, something I can do, book conversion, content writing, content editing, everything. So I started applying. When I'm applying for a job on Upwork, I still do it till today. If it's something that is on my blog, say content writing, for example, I just go to my blog, I am magnus.com, take a screenshot of the blog, and then add it to my proposal when I'm submitting a proposal to a client on Upwork. I just tell them, hi, my name is Magnus. I have done this before. I believe I'm qualified to deliver, and just take a screenshot and, apply. So I got a writing gig with someone, a guy who is in Dubai. I think he's in Dubai. I'm not sure, and then he really liked my writing, so he sent me a friend request on Facebook, and he said he would like to work with me a long time, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm open to it. So I started writing. This was, I worked with Okada Books between 2015 and January 2020, but this whole Upwork thing was like 2018, 2019. Also in 2017, 2018, I had trainings at work on how to become a product manager. We had this training with Google, thanks to Okada Books, the company I was working with at the time. We also had a training, and this is the significant one I want to tell you guys about, but I'm losing my train of thought. If I remember, I'll tell you. But we had a bunch of training at the time. Also, how to become a website tester, check for bugs on apps and websites and stuff like that. I also took trainings on that as well. And also, late 2017, Piggy Vest was really, really a thing. I'm kind of like just adding this one to the story because because Piggy Vest actually helped my life a lot, between 2017 and 2019, 2020-ish. I was able to, save for even my rent and a bunch of other things. But around the time, I was reviewing apps like Piggy Vest, and a bunch of other apps as well. I can't remember because it was so much. It was a lot. It was so much that my blog started, people discovered my blog that, hey, this is what this person does. I had someone from prosper.com, is it prosper.com or prosper? I don't even remember. I had someone from Prosper reach out to me, and she was like, hey Magnus, I checked out your blog. We would like you to write a review for our website, our platform, Prosper. Prosper is a platform that lets you open a bank account for your business. And I was like, yeah, sure, no wahala, I can do it. So I also wrote reviews for Prosper and all of that. So it was like a lot of stuff going on at the time. And then I also had school. School was not what I expected. It was a mess. It was so frustrating that at some point I was like, you know what, I'm just going to buy all the textbooks and I'll stop coming to classes like every day. But I still came to classes because I just wanted to just wanted to get it over with. It was ND, it was national diploma. You would come to the class, and the lecturer who's supposed to be teaching you English will be talking about, women and some really unhealthy things like, bro, teach us what we came here for. Do you understand? And then some of the computer science, because it was computer science I was studying, some of the computer science assignments and everything, you would go online and you find them on really popular websites out there, and these things are being printed for you, and you're like, what is going on? Like, can't I just study these things on my own? But truly, if they leave you to study those things on your own, you might actually not keep up. But again, it was just, I don't want to say rubbish, it would be too disrespectful, it wasn't what I expected. School was not what I expected at all. I just wanted to finish. So anyway, so Upwork. I started doing Upwork, started working from home, I write content and a bunch of stuff. And then I had laptop issues, so I had to dump Upwork. And then at Okada Books, because I came from customer support, I got promotions to actually do other things in the company, and it was really, really fun. There was a time I wrote newsletters. You see stuff like Magnus from Okada Books. If you use Okada Books between 2015 and 2019, it got to the point where I was like, okay, yeah, I need to actually move on, and do other things and leave Okada Books. So December 2019, I basically said, you know what, it is time, I need to move. So by January, I got my first official remote job from a company outside Nigeria. But let's go back to how I got the remote job. I was applying between June 2019 and December 2019, right? Because at some point at Okada Books, I actually took a break and I wanted to try other things. So I started applying, and then by December, after I think like 6 interviews or so, after applying to so many companies, I finally got that interview where someone was like, yo, we want you to provide support for this particular game. And I was like, no. No, I cannot, because the requirements were like a lot. Basically, this company wanted me to provide support for their game, but for you to provide support for that game, you have to also play the game by, I think they said 8 p.m. some days. And you know how Nigeria is. At the time, I didn't have inverters, I didn't have all of this, and I didn't want to mess things up. So I told them, hey, I cannot do this, but if you have another job that would not require me to, play the game like every day or something, please let me know. I'm still interested. So they said, okay. At the time, they had to make me do English assessment tests. They had to make me do typing tests. They had to, like, these are the things that you're going to be evaluated on if you're looking for a remote job. You might have to do a typing test if it's like a customer support job. You might have to do speed test, connection test, where they will tell you to connect a LAN cable, because LAN cables are faster, compared to Wi-Fi. So there's also that as well. At the time, I think I was using my MTN. I just connected my phone and I ran the connection test and everything. But also, I had SpectraNet as well. I'm being too specific about all of this because I want to give you guys a sense of how the whole thing plays out. So you do a typing test to kind of like certify your typing speed. For every company it varies, right? Some companies have like a typing speed of maybe like 40 or 30 minimum or 20 minimum. Again, it varies, right? I don't even know what mine was because I don't have all of that data. Even after I got promoted, I didn't have all of that data. But yeah, if you're looking to work at a company as maybe like a virtual assistant, social media manager, customer support person, you might have to do the connection test and stuff like that. They might also ask you to set up stuff like PayPal or other similar platforms where you're going to receive your money. So all of that happened in December 2019, and then by December 26th, 2019, I got the job offer to finally start with the company on a particular position. And then from there, throughout the COVID period, I was just home. That's when PiggyVest also helped a lot. I was just home, working from home. I was able to buy my TV. I was able to buy my fridge. That was my former place. I was able to buy a bunch of stuff. And from there, everything just kind of like took off. I don't want to stop the conversation here. I want to tell you guys how the whole thing really played out specifically. So I kept applying to companies, and some of these companies did not get back to me, at least not immediately. Some of them got back to me like 9 months later, 6 months later, even some Nigerian companies. Some of them rejected me, and I reached out to them to ask why they rejected me. And they told me it was because I was overqualified. You know, they're probably looking to pay lesser than what they would pay someone with my skills, right? And at the time, I wasn't really aiming for something huge. Even if I took trainings on how to become a product manager and all of that, I just really needed a job, something different, something somewhere else, something challenging, something exciting. So I went for customer support, content creator. In some cases also some days I applied for the role of a social media manager as well in some companies, but it wasn't really what I really wanted to do at the time, because social media tires me. That's why I don't follow anybody on Instagram anymore. It's like super exhausting. I spend like 20 minutes there and it feels like a lot. Thankfully, I didn't get a social media manager job. So it was the customer support job that I got, and everything else took off from there. So when you're applying to these companies, what I would say is keep your skills, as detailed as possible. If you worked as a social media manager in so Nigeria Limited, make sure that you add the tools you used. So, hey, I worked as a social media manager in this company or in this church. Okay, cool. When you're listing your skills, mention it as well. I'm familiar with tools such as Hootsuite, Instagram, social media, Facebook ads. I can run Facebook ads or something. Like, just be more specific. What I do with my own CV is I say things like, as a customer support agent, I grew the customers from 200,000 users to 300,000 users using Zendesk, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Full stop. I don't do the whole bullet point thing that people do on CV, where they say, I filed documents every day, I posted every day, I did this every day. No, it's a lot, right? Again, at the time, I already had like experience working with like 7 clients or 7 companies. So you don't want your CV to be filled with so many things. You want to keep it as simple or as short as possible. Hey, I worked at this company between this year and this year. I managed social media, or I grew the number of users from 200,000 to 300,000 users using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, this too, that too. Full stop. Then come to the next one. I was a developer or an intern front-end developer at, let's say, RiseVest between 2019 and 2021. And I grew the team, or I wrote codes, or I refactored code using GitHub, this one, that one. I'm not a developer. So stuff like that. Just be more specific with those things. I'm telling you this because what I currently do where I work is recruitment. I'm a recruiter, right? So I get to see as much as 25 CVs every week, and sometimes we do this thing where we search within CVs because we're looking for someone with this particular experience. For example, we're looking for someone who has crypto knowledge, right? There's no way I would know if you have crypto knowledge if you don't say it in your CV. So don't say I did this, did. No, I was a social media manager for Binance, and I used tools such as Binance, this one. So when we're searching for you in the ATS is applicant tracking system. When we're searching for you there, we'll just say Binance, and then everyone that has Binance in their CV will show up. So be more specific when you're mentioning your skills and things you've done before. The other thing I would also like to mention is, if you're applying for anything, try as much as possible to reference what you've done before. People most people don't want to admit this, right? But the OGs know this. They know that a company would hire somebody with experience or skills instead of someone that doesn't have any experience or skills. That's why on LinkedIn there are people protesting, saying things like hire this person because hire this, give people a chance, not because something shall give people a chance, even the newbies and everything. When people are presented with someone without skills and someone with skills, or someone without experience and someone with experience, they will go with someone with experience. So when you're updating your CV, even if you don't have a CV, I didn't have a CV throughout all those years until like 2019 when I decided to start looking for remote jobs. But when you're applying to jobs, even on Upwork, try to take a screenshot of what you've done before. If you grew a TikTok account from 200,000 users to 300,000 users, or 20 to 400 users, take a screenshot of that TikTok account and use it to apply for the job. If you worked at so place, as this particular thing, take a screenshot of the work you did. It could be content you wrote in your name. It could be event you organized. Did you take pictures at the event? Like, don't let anybody tell you, hey, don't put it there. Let the person that's hiring you actually see that you've done this thing before. So take a screenshot of that thing and use it to apply for the job. People are more compelled to hire you when they see that you've done something before compared to someone who hasn't done it before, right? This is not to say that people don't hire people without experience, or clients don't hire people without experience. They do, right? But I'm saying that even before you start applying to work at a company, show that you've actually worked out there. And that's why we have CVs and LinkedIn profiles. And that's the next thing I want to say. Make sure you have a LinkedIn account. Even if you've not worked anywhere at all, you're still in school and you're watching this video, make sure you have a LinkedIn account. It's very important. Put everything you've done there. If you have a blog where you post content and this is what you do on the blog, add it to your LinkedIn account. Just don't say too much when you're adding it. Just be short about it. Personal blog, this is what I do. I create content about crypto. I volunteered here. Just put it on your LinkedIn account. Show that you've done something. Right? If you've not done anything and you're watching this video, go and do something. That social media course you took, add it to your resume, but also try and experiment with it. In my day, like way back 2014, 2013, 2015, you would have people who tell you things like, hey, if you have experience in this thing, go and intern in a company, gain some experience from there and put it on your CV. People still do it, but I'm not a big fan of telling people to work for free these days. But if you can afford to actually work for free, you have money, maybe your parents are funding your daily life and you can afford to, go and do internship somewhere. Reach out to the CEO of a company on LinkedIn, or reach out to someone who works in a company and tell them, hey, are you guys looking for this particular person? I don't mind working with you guys for free, and stuff like that. People still do it. I've had someone reach out to me on Instagram and was like, hey Magnus, I want to edit your videos, your short clips for free. And I told him, my mind no go grieve, because if not me, but I basically turned him off, and I turned him away, and I told him, hey, if I have a budget, I'll let you know, and then I'll let you edit some videos and we'll see how that goes. But I don't like people doing things for me for free. But there are people out there who would let you work with them for like 6 months or a month for free, and you have some experience from there. Keep applying. Don't stop. After you get a rejection today, don't give up. The policies of company A are way different, more than you know, are way different from the policies of company B. So just because a company in South Africa is not hiring, from a particular country, doesn't mean that another company in that same country or another company in the US is not hiring. People are hiring globally these days, and you can get a job from anywhere. Don't let people tell you, hey, it's the Nigerian factor and all of that. No. For the whole Nigerian factor thing, my advice for you on that part would be to make sure you have your NIN, make sure you have your BVN, all those national ID papers, make sure you have them, because when you land a remote job, you will need to maybe set up an account or present your government papers and stuff for you to receive your payment. So have them ready. Driver's license, voter's card, NIN, BVN, any of those documents, have them ready. Or your international passport, have it ready, right? In fact, these days, whether you're looking for a remote job or not, you should actually have an international passport or driver's license or voter's card or NIN and BVN. You should have NIN and BVN or any of the other ones I mentioned. So have those, just have them. Of course, have a bank account in your name. If you're 17 or 16, there are bank accounts that have limits, right? But just have a bank account in your name. You can upgrade later with your government issued ID. So have those in place already if you're looking for a remote job, right? And start applying. When you get a job, they are going to ask you how you plan to receive your payment. They might tell you PayPal or US dollar account or something, but there are platforms you can use to set these things up. There's GigPay or GigPay that you can use to set up a US bank account to receive dollars, pounds, or euros in. There is Gray.co these days. All of this, you can do it from Nigeria here. I didn't have to leave Nigeria to set all of those up. There are freelance platforms as well that you can use to receive your money through. There's Upwork, there's Golands, there's Fiverr, there's all of them. Also, track the companies you're applying to. If you apply to work at Facebook today, put it down in a spreadsheet. The day you applied, the name of the company, the day you applied, name of the company, so that you don't go applying to the same company like 3 times in a month. I'm talking to you if you if you applied to so many jobs in a month. Track all the companies you're applying to. Also, if you know that your English is not so good, you will know that your English is not good. If you can't speak or write good English, if you know your English is not so good, get apps like Duolingo. There are other apps out there that you can use to learn English language. If you're looking to learn other languages as well, like French and Spanish, you can learn them with Duolingo. But if you're applying to a remote job, another thing you should actually pay attention to is your spoken English and your written English, because these are companies that are looking for competent people, and part of the competence is really your spoken and written English. You should be able to present yourself when you speak. And of course, I know you could get nervous during interviews and stuff and might not be able to speak clearly, but when people look at your CV, when people look at the way you write things on LinkedIn and write things out there, make sure that your spoken and written English is good. Again, if they are not so good, use Duolingo to learn English or use another language learning app. Other thing I would also like to mention is when you should reach out to a company if they haven't gotten back to you. And that's also why you should track how many companies you apply to in a month or a week. Just track them. The ones that got back to you, you can mark them green. The ones that did not get back to you, you can mark them with red. The ones that told you that they'll get back to you but they did not get back to you, you can just leave them. After a week or 2 weeks, you still haven't heard from them, you can write them and say, hey, hi, I'm just checking in because you told me you're going to get back to me. I just want to know if I'm still being considered for the job. Finish. If you need like a proper, well-written email, you can use tools like ChatGPT to compose a proper email. But yeah, say something like that and wait for them to get back to you. Write the email after 2 weeks. If they haven't gotten back to you after 2 weeks, send them an email. After the email, they still haven't gotten back to you, say a month later, go to the careers page of that website and reapply for that position. Reapply to the job that you applied to initially or a different job, and hopefully they will get back to you this time. But really, if you apply to a company you've applied to before, maybe they didn't get back to you before, you go there and reapply again, there's a huge chance that they might get back to you this time if they are still hiring. But if they still don't get back to you, that's fine. You can just cross them, like highlight them red on the sheet that you're tracking all the companies. The other thing I would also like to touch base on is electricity. If you don't have good electricity, try and get a laptop power bank. Get a laptop power bank and use that, or you can go to a friend's house and work from there, or you can buy a generator. When I first started, I actually bought a generator first, and then about a year later I bought an inverter. Basically, I bought an inverter for like 150k. Generator, I bought it for like 95k or so at first, and then I later bought an inverter. If you also think you can pay back, you can borrow money as well to buy these things and kind of like establish electricity, so that you don't have issues with electricity. But if you want to hustle it and you think you can, maybe work from a friend's house or a friend's shop at first until you have money to buy generator or power bank. The other thing I would also like to mention is your computer. Your work tool should be something with 8 gig RAM at least. Don't get a laptop with 4 gig RAM. That's too low. It cannot even power Photoshop properly. And if you're not running Photoshop, you might run another heavy application that might slow down your computer. Get a laptop that has 8 gig RAM at least, or 16 gig RAM, or 12 gig RAM. For me, I cannot work with, if it's a MacBook, minimum 8 gig RAM. If it's a Windows computer, minimum 16 gig RAM. Because MacBooks and iPhones optimize memory properly compared to Windows and Android. Those ones, they need a lot of space. So your RAM on a Windows computer should be like 8 gig RAM at least. But me, I would do 16 gig RAM any day. But you can start with 8 gig RAM. For your internet, I would say try to use the fastest internet you can find in your area. It could be Airtel, Glo, MTN, it could be SpectraNet. I started with MTN, then I also had SpectraNet at the time, and I was just using those two. But I'm not endorsing any network in particular here. I'm just saying look for the fastest one in your area and use it. But yeah, that's pretty much all the information I have for you guys. You can land a remote job from Nigeria. Don't let anybody tell you anything. If a company rejects you, keep applying. If you think that you're lacking in one area, try to fix it. Try to work on your English, try to work on your typing speed, try to work on your it depends on the job. If it's your coding skills, try to work on your coding skills, try to work on your transcription skills, your editing skills. Depends on the job, depends on what you're being hired for. Try to be really good at that thing. Try to also talk about it when you can, maybe on LinkedIn, or connect with other people who do the same thing. LinkedIn, Facebook. I say LinkedIn because that's where employers go to look when they are looking at your CV. Also, on your CV, add your phone number, add your email, and add your LinkedIn link, your LinkedIn profile. If you don't know how to add a LinkedIn profile or how to get a LinkedIn profile, just Google it, how to get a LinkedIn profile for my account, and you'll find it. Add all of those to your CV in case a company needs to contact you. I can't think of anything else, but I just want to let you guys know that I'm always here. If you need to ask me anything, again, my handle is at @Magnus1. You can reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram. I'm not very active on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, because I just come there, post and go. But we can do YouTube. Come and leave a comment here, and I will try as much as possible to reply. And I've been doing this recruitment thing for like 2 years now, so I'm privileged, because it's a privilege. I'm privileged to actually review as many as 25 CVs at least every week. So I see a lot of CVs, I see a lot of mistakes, and I know a lot about hiring outside Nigeria and within Nigeria. So you can ask me anything about recruitment. If I already talked about it in this video, I will tell you what part of the video it's in. If I haven't, I'll just leave you a reply. But just leave a comment under this video if you've watched it to this point. Ask me anything about recruitment and I'm going to answer you. Some of them might require me to make another video. I will do that and I'll mention you when I post the video. So that's it from me. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.